One thing I like to do is contrast what was said then compared with the opinion now. And you can see the path of people, what they got up to, how opinions have changed, loads of stuff. Now, what I want to concentrate on for this video, for the large part of it, is Piers Morgan. Now, first of all, I want to draw your attention to this tweet here. This is a bit of an older one. It's dated March 2nd, 2025, so last year. It says, the Prime Minister had his best week since he took office. Piers Morgan says Keir Starmer is right to not try and create more division between the UK and the US following his conversations with the US and Ukrainian president. So this was a year ago. Now, what I want to do is play this piece of footage that goes with this, and you can see exactly what I mean.
So, Pierre, what did you make of that? I know you spoke to President Trump after the visit with Starmer, but before the then explosion with President Zelensky. What did you make of what we heard from Keir Starmer there?
I liked it. I think the Prime Minister's had the best week he's had since he took office. And I think he's very right to not try and create more division between the UK and the United States. And it's not easy to deal with Donald Trump. I've known him 20 years. I've negotiated. I've had a worse scene with him shouting at me louder over an interview where somebody had leaked stuff to him about negative things I said about him. So I've been in that environment, and it can get pretty hostile very quickly, but it can also calm down very quickly. I was struck by the fact the Prime Minister says he's been having conversations with Donald Trump, with President Macron. Look, you have to understand the American position of this and where Trump comes from and why I think things got fractious in the Oval Office. Yes, it was unedifying. It was also riveting, and it was also very revealing about where both sides are thinking about this. And I think the key thing with the Americans, they are sick and tired of being taken, as they think, for granted by Europe.
So, Pierre, what did you...
So you heard that at the end. The Americans are getting sick and tired of being taken for granted by Europe. That's a whole nother conversation for another time. You heard his appraisal of Keir Starmer and that he was doing a good job. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. This is a little bit more recent. This is something he put up dated February the 9th, so 2 days ago, and so far it's been seen by nearly 4 million people. Keir, you're a good man, a decent man, an Arsenal fan, always a good test of a man. When you did Life Stories, I found your remarkable journey to the top of British politics very inspiring. But this can't go on. For the good of the country, resign. And he's even tagged Keir Starmer in there. I don't know if anybody watched the actual Life Stories episode. I certainly did at the time. And you can see some of the comments here. A decent man, ha ha ha. Oh yeah, he's such a good man. He literally puts the gangs before victims. Are you on drugs, Piers? So this hasn't gone down very well. And Emma Dunwell, bless her, that's got to be rage bait. He always says stuff, Piers Morgan, that he knows is going to wind up the crowd. But the key point there, he's exposed him for what he is, for the good of the country, resign. And as you've seen with an earlier video, which I showed you, it's pretty obvious that they are there for power. They are there because they are the Labour Party, and they want to cling on to power. Keir Starmer wants to cling on to power. And he literally told his cabinet, you back me or you're done. So we can see what's going on. Just as a contrast, have a look at this one here. This is Lefty broadcast, LBC, and this is dated February the 9th as well. Ali Miraj gives Keir Starmer some friendly advice. Dare them to face you down. Dare them to face you down.
You know what my advice to Keir Starmer is this? Politics is tough. Politics is hard. Just as my advice to you, Prime Minister, was to crash Andy Burnham's ambitions underfoot, you need to tough this out. You've said sorry. You've apologized. We all make mistakes. This was a pretty egregious error of judgment and a massive mistake on a gargantuan scale. And you're human and you've apologized. And I accept your apology because I do believe, despite your many shortcomings, which I have outlined continuously on my show, I don't think that you are mercurial and mendacious and did this for any other reason than that you thought it was the right thing to do for the country. It's blown up in your face. You've apologized. I accept your apology. My advice to you, Prime Minister, is this. Face the opponents and the bleaters down. And I tell you what, Prime Minister, I tell you what you should do is all these people lining up against you, why don't you take some inspiration from the Pointer Sisters from 1985, whose track Dare Me was remixed by Junior Jack in 2004. Baby, make your move, step across the line, come on, dare me. That's what you should do, Prime Minister. Dare them to face you down, dare them for a vote of no confidence in your leadership. I bet they haven't got the gall.
I kind of partly agree with him because I think if anybody, pushed too far, he'd just pull the rug out from under the whole party. I'm sure he would. But that was the LBC channel that we all know and love. I say that with tongue in cheek. Well, there's another contrast again. Here is another article which is worth a read, and it's titled, and I always get told off for this, Keir Starmer is finished. But what have we learned from the Mandelson affair? Revelations that Prime Minister Keir Starmer appointed Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to the US, despite knowing that he had maintained his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, have had and will continue to have a series of long-running consequences. First and most obviously, Starmer's goose is cooked. He will likely survive the week for the very same reason he is extremely unlikely to survive the year. His rivals can read the tea leaves. As I predicted in the wake of Starmer's supposed landslide, which was, in reality, merely the British public punishing the Tories without any enthusiasm for Labour, things were inevitably going to get worse for Labour with every day in power. The pretenders to Starmer's wobbly throne know they are likely to get trounced in the Gordon and Denton by-election later this month. Oh, they're going to get destroyed. Having hemorrhaged votes to reform and the Greens emerging Green-Green alliance. They also know that local government, mayoral, as well as Scottish and Welsh Parliament elections are coming in early May. A scapegoat will be needed to explain the inevitable disaster that will unfold for Labour at those elections. Why depose Starmer now, only to be fed into the mincer for his mistakes a few months down the line? This is why the odds for Starmer leaving vary so wildly between him leaving in the next couple of months and leaving by the end of the year. Second, and equally obviously, this entire scandal confirms something that anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear already knew. Labour is utterly devoid of talent. Even a weak and damaged Prime Minister will linger on because his potential replacements are, hard as they may be to believe, even less impressive. Indeed, his appointment of Mandelson was itself a symptom of the same problem. The Labour Party is so short of serious operators that appointing a convicted best friend seems like a good idea. David Lammy, who in opposition described President Trump as a tyrant, a woman-hating neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, is the country's foreign secretary, whose most important job is to establish a productive working relationship with the US administration. Most of Labour's front bench should be stacking shelves at Lidl. Instead, they're running the country. Finally, And still equally obviously, the fallout from this episode has revealed in writing something that we all knew logically, but had not previously heard a senior Labour figure say out loud. They are terrified of the Muslim vote. In an attempt to distance himself from Mandelson, Health Secretary Wes Streeting released their private WhatsApp exchanges. Hidden among these was a telling comment. I fear we're in big trouble, and I am toast at the next election. We just lost our safest ward in Redbridge, 51% Muslim, Ilford South, to a Gaza independent. At this rate, I don't think we'll hold either of the two Ilford seats. There isn't a clear one answer to the question. Why Labour? Labour's chickens are coming home to roost. For years, they've fostered, encouraged, and profited from religious sectarianism. A significant number of the seats they hold were won by en bloc Muslim votes. Labour naively believed that these votes would stay with them no matter what, provided they continue to say and do nothing to defend this community. Their silence on grooming gangs, their failure to ban the Muslim Brotherhood, and their aggressive push to criminalise thought crime under the guise of combating Islamophobia are just some of the surface consequences. The problem, as they have discovered, is that unlike the Labour Party, whose only guiding principle is political expediency, the Muslim community has a clear and well-defined political agenda. So there you go. That sums up the whole situation now. Is he going to be gone in a week? Is he going to be gone in a month? Or will he see out the year? You let me know in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share my stuff. I'll talk to you soon. Toodaloo.